Hey, Robin Reed here, and welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to go deep. This is a self-sabotage story, which is my own. I hold nothing back. It's raw. It's real. At the end, you may have tears in your eyes, but you will definitely walk away knowing how to arrest your own self-sabotaging behaviors and where to begin. So grab yourself a cup of tea. This is a long one, but I promise it's worth it. All right, and if you like it, hey, please do me a favor. Just hit like, maybe leave me a comment. I love to hear from my readers. You can email me at robin@robinaustinreed.com. I'd love to hear from you. And hey, enjoy the video.
Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis, and today I'm very grateful to be joined by a fellow self-sabotage coach, Robin Reed. His content's awesome. He's got an awesome story. I listened to his podcast with Tanner a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I need to get this guy on. He's an awesome storyteller. He's got an awesome story himself, how he overcame self-sabotage. He's a pilot. He's an author. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing where this chat goes today. I feel like we'll talk about some healing and some self-love and some self-worth, some inner child stuff and whatever else comes up. So Robin, welcome to the show, and we're very grateful and very humbled to have you here today, mate. I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, introduce yourself and we'll rock and roll, I reckon.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate
Worries,
you
mate.
having me. It's definitely an honor. The self-sabotage conversation, just the word, just the phrase self-sabotage. When I first heard it, I was like, self-sabotage. Like, we hear these words like healing and recovery and prayer, and then there's the whole new age jargon, which JP Spears covers and makes fun of, which is always comical.
Yeah.
And it was always hard to talk about in some ways, but when you start talking about self-sabotage, it's a different phrase. I don't know about you, but I never really heard it much. Certainly people would tell me that I'm sabotaging myself in certain areas when I went in for coaching or was talking to friends or maybe was looking for some mentoring. And so, but when we started talking about it and really embracing it as a concept, and really even more than that, but as a lifestyle, right? Self-sabotage is a lifestyle for so many. I was good at it. I was really good at it. I mean, I had it down. So, my story's really sadly not unique. In that, I had programs running, right? I had programs that were designed to keep me overweight and broke and sad and just really away from people, really just kind of addicted. And my response to that, and funny thing is, as I work with people in this work now, I see there's a couple of different types of people, and I'm going to tell you which one I was. There's the people that are just in it. They're just like, this is life. It sucks. It's designed to suck. And as a coach, you can kind of get like one of those little wedges in, like in a pain spot, and just kind of, wiggle it to where they kind of open up to, oh, you mean there is another possibility? So there's like those people, like this, the consistently stuck people that are so desperately in their story. And when I say story, that's not an invalidating term. And the way out of that is by the way, to validate, right? Hey, this horrific thing happened to you. That's fucked up. Can I say fucked up?
Yep. Go for it.
That's really jacked. And so those people, I think we all need to be seen. We all need to be heard. And when you're able to, there's something really powerful that happens man to man, especially, I think, man to man, because men are so full of bravado. We're so used to competing on the level of our wallet, our bedroom, what cars we're driving, possessions, just external references that we just kind of bro hug and gotcha, man. I'm great. See ya. But when somebody can open their heart and tell you their story, and you can just sit there and listen,
Mm.
and then just they pause, and you gotta be like, 1,000, 1,000, one Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, like wait, and just
Mm.
say, and get the feeling out of them. How did that feel? It hurt. It hurt.
Mm.
And then guys will always say that it hurt, which
Mm.
really isn't a feeling, it's more of a state, but that's
Mm.
fine. And then you're able to just, hit the right chord, hit the right note, and say, man, that's really tough. That's
Mm.
jacked up. I'm sorry that happened to you. Not to push them more into their victim, but to really see that. And so anyway, that's one person. The other person was my response to self-sabotage. My response to self-sabotage was try harder.
Yeah.
Was try
Oh, I got a
harder.
dog barking. Yeah, keep going. Sorry, mate.
We like that. We're dog friendly around here.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, try harder.
Mm.
Man up, you pussy. Come on, let's go. The hard talk.
Mm.
And we say words like motivation. I need motivation. Somebody said that to me today. I'm like, well, hey, why, hey, thanks for the follow. Here's a copy of my free book, yada, yada, just saying hello.
Mm.
Why'd you follow me? So, hey, I just need motivation. And I jump on his profile and he's, doing all this stuff and he's trying harder. He's
Mm.
trying harder. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. These guys are disciplined. They are, well spoken. They typically will show up. They self-correct. They're very self-aware. They're very self-critical. But they just, my story was one of super confident, crazy confident. I could do whatever I wanted to do, but no self-esteem.
Mm.
No self-esteem. Like I can do anything, but I'm not worthy of it. So I can do anything, super talented, make the money, get the girl, whatever, but don't deserve it once I get there. And so sabotage,
Mm.
So yeah, that's kind of been my experience is there's these couple of different kinds of people that get into this. And hey, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Mm. That's awesome, mate. Yeah, I can relate so much to that just being a young bloke, mate. Like, yeah. What did you find was your biggest form of self-sabotage, mate?
Form.
Like what was the one thing that you found difficult or you struggled to overcome during
Yeah,
your
let me
journey?
put that into areas
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a way of self-sabotaging, and then where do you self-sabotage? So
Correct,
my
yeah.
area was that of money and love.
Oh,
Money and love.
same.
Yeah. I mean, I was always an athlete. I always
Yeah.
took care of my body. I always dressed nice. I know how to groom myself. I was always very responsible. I always had whatever I've ever wanted. I mean, within reason, no problem. But being worthy of love,
Mm.
love is my biggest challenge. Being able to love myself and experience that love in a woman,
Mm.
has just has grown me to it was to the point where it was almost dangerous.
Wow.
Because
Yeah,
if you're
that's
unlovable, I would say to people, if my own mother doesn't love me, why would anybody else? Like I had that program going on, and I would say it with pride, like with kind of hey, listen, mom didn't love me, why would you? And that's just a program, that's just a story that I had going.
wow.
And stories, I always feel like when I say the word story, like I'm minimizing what someone's gone through, including myself, and I'm not. But I'm thinking in this moment, what's true for me is that a story comes from an experience, and a story gets made bigger and more scary and worse because of the trauma associated with it that was never dealt with, that was never felt,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
It was never a timeout. There was never a timeout. And where there's this little kid that's showing up in me that's traumatized and is got complex PTSD and, you know, is acting out, which is totally inappropriate for a 40 something year old man. It's totally appropriate for a 5-year-old. So what do? I've got these behaviors. I've got these notions. I've got these reactions. I've got these responses. I've got these triggers. What do? I'm 40. So what do? Man up. Just try harder. Suppress. Don't show that side of myself. Masks are huge. The masks of masculinity. I think it's sometimes where that comes from. Men are amazing at wearing masks. And so I had to go back and revisit that little child and listen to him and sit with him and hear what he went through, just like I would if a little child came up right now and was crying and sobbing. I would be like, man up, you little bastard. You know, I wouldn't do that. You know, I'd get on my knees. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Come here. And he'd, I mean, that's how you respond to kids, or should be. And so my area was that of love, because if I'm not lovable, then I'm rejecting everybody. And I got really good. The apex of it was probably my early 40s. I'm now 51. And in my late 30s, it kind of started to unwind. And then in my early 40s, I was like, okay, what's up? And it looks like, you know, the vanity side of me took care of my body. So I was never drawn to self-sabotaging hard drugs. You know, there was always alcohol and sugar and caffeine, the good drugs, the acceptable ones. But there was this imbalance, love and money, because money's energy, right? Yep. Money is an exchange of value and energy between two people or organizations. And I didn't understand that, right? I just thought, I think one of the worst terms we say is make money. What do I do to make money? I need to make money. You don't make money. Like, do you have a printing press? How do you make money? Are you the Reserve? Don't get me started on the Federal Reserve. We don't make money, right?
No.
And so I had to kind of change my thought patterns about love and money and how it's exchanged, and love of myself. And money is a reflection of the appreciation and value I give to my own talent, right? And before then, it was always go out and sell a concept, sell an idea, sell a product, do that in fashionable, cool, sexy ways with lots of takedowns and different types of closes. And oh my God, talk about masks. You know, I was a master of it. You know, that worked for years. Child of the 80s, right? Gordon Gekko, right? You know Gordon. Do you know who Gordon Gekko is?
No, I don't, but I'm sure you'll tell me and tell my listeners.
I'm going to send you a YouTube video on Gordon Gekko, the original Wall Street, right? He was
okay.
Closing, right?
Yeah.
Greed is good. Greed for love. Greed for, you know. And so he just had to give this amazing speech about greed is good to all these shareholders.
Yeah.
And but Wall Street was a quintessential 80s, you know, cocaine fueled greed, just build time. And I was a child of the 80s. And so that worked for a long time for a lot of people and a lot of organizations, until humanity made this shift out of that consciousness. We're fully in that now. Some people say Pisces versus the age of Aquarius, right? Yep. Age of Aquarius is more enlightened, right? People are smarter. We're more in touch with who we are. We're asking deeper questions. we know more about nutrition, and we're just smarter, supposedly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and so how we communicate to people is different. And so um it all came crashing down, essentially.
Mm.
That's where I'm taking this. It all came crashing down. And so the areas were love and money. The ways I did it was numbing, just numbing,
Mm.
numbing with distraction, with movies. There's 100 ways to numb
Yeah.
yourself from feeling something. I was talking to a guy earlier today who works 80 hours a week. I'm like, why? And yet he doesn't have a lot of money. Doesn't have a lot of
Wow.
money.
Yeah.
Also struggling with lovability. Like, why do you work 80 hours a week? And he's like, this keeps my mind busy. I don't want to think about my problems.
Mm. Mm.
So I don't think I think a lot of people are in that, men
I think they are
especially.
too. They are. I'm seeing it too. All age groups, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just soaking all this in because love and money were mine, and when you were saying about numbing, I'm just relating so much to this, man. And I'm sure a lot of people are too. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here, let me balance the light. Sorry.
You're right,
It's
mate.
getting dark. It's getting dark where I am. So
Yeah.
I realize I'm evenly lighted. I can't have that. I
Yeah.
gotta have equal light.
Yeah.
All right, keep going. Ask me oh goodness.
Oh, I was
Ask me
just
some
gonna
more
ask
questions.
you, what were you doing to numb? What were the distractions? Was it porn? Was it
No.
alcohol? Did you ever find yourself sabotaging some relationships with women and others? Like what were those distractions?
Asking my secrets. Sure. No escape now. We're on
Yeah.
record. No, it changes. It changes over time. Um, in my 20s, I was a sex addict,
Same here, mate.
straight straight up.
Mm.
Just I just my again an athlete, very fit. I was very in tune with my body, but I didn't understand sexual energy. I didn't understand the relationship of everything that's going on. I didn't understand my power. And so
Mm.
I gave that all away. Um, I think when people I also had sexual trauma in my childhood. And so when many times, I don't want to make any general statements, but many times when there's sexual trauma very young, and a child is exposed to sexuality before it's very traumatizing. It just stunts the natural progression of kids, and their response is, um I'm dirty, nobody touch me. And so that's one response. And so they push everything and everyone away, and they live highly moral. There's a lot of people in the church like this, very
Mm.
moral, very few partners. Or the response is that of promiscuity. And
Mm.
that was my response. That
Mm.
was my response. I wanted more of it. And I was good at it. So I was, when I say good at it, again, I'm an athlete. I had no fear. I was not scared. Oh, I had a lot of fear, but I had no external fear. I had no fear of others. I was so intense about getting what I want, just wild ambition. And so like unbridled, unhealthy ambition. And
Wow.
so, I knew how to talk to people and women. And so I was able to get what I wanted from women, and prided myself in being a gentleman about it and giving them what they wanted. So that wasn't bad. Um, I didn't have, when I started my healing, I didn't have a lot of I didn't have a lot of amends to make there, which was cool,
Mm.
right? Um, I felt like I've always known, I've always respected women and loved them. And uh, in many ways, I'm here because of very good women that loved me and gave me truth. Uh, but definitely a sex addict. And then in my 30s, it just kind of started dissipating. My interests changed. I think it's kind of goes back to that, the age of men, the stages of men, right? When we're little boys, we're Peter Pan, right? When we get a little older, we're cowboys, cowboys and Indians, play guns.
Hmm.
A little older, we become warriors, right? 18, 19, we're warriors, right? This is why 18 and 19 and 21, 22-year-olds make such great soldiers. And then in our late 20s and 30s, we become lovers, very interested in family. What are we building? A home, independence, maybe taking a wife, at least definitely having a hot girlfriend. We're lovers, and that's the longest stage of men before we become kings.
Mm.
And that was my case. I was a lover for a long period of time before I really started to understand wisdom and sexual energy and money and just so all the aspects of life to say, okay, this is who I am. This is how I operate, and I will show up in the world. And I'm a king. I'm a king.
Mm.
And even now, that said, with just tremendous amount of reverence and humility and beauty, because I know there's so much more. There's so much more coming, right? And then the last stage is sage. Those are our elders, right? I mean, you put me in front of any man over 60, and I'm at, I'm on his elbow, right? Wanting to learn about life.
Mm.
The older, the better, right? It's our sages. So it's we were talking about sexual addiction and sexual energy. Um, it 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 kind of ebbed and flowed. Why was it there? Certainly pornography was a part of it. Giving myself away of and to pornography, not really understanding what that was doing to my mind. I guess if I really tried, I could probably recall all of those images, all of those videos. And I've since cleansed and washed my mind. Um, but I don't think people truly understand uh, just how toxic pornography can be. And it's evolved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is it, like 30-40% of internet traffic?
Yeah.
Back when I grew up, we didn't have internet. I was exposed to pornography by, I don't know, a Playboy magazine, which is just a naked woman.
Mm.
It's not, yeah, I don't recommend it, but not exactly bad,
Hmm.
right?
Mm.
It's a well posed nude woman.
Mm.
Not exactly natural. Not many women look like that.
No.
That's a different podcast, but
Mm.
way different than now, where kids are carrying around a supercomputer and can dial up whatever they want. Not, I just shouldn't have said kids, anybody,
Anybody.
right?
Mm.
Anybody. So, I I'm happy to say, wow, I'm present right now to just an emotion of gratitude that could have gone really badly for me. It could have had a different flavor to it for me or women, right? And it didn't. Fortunately, it was just kind of something that I matured out of, and it definitely showed up in my healing journey, which started about 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Mm. What enabled you to start your healing journey, Robin? What was the what's the word I'm looking for? What was the kick? What kick started you in action?
What pushed me into it?
Yeah.
I think about this all the time because I always wonder, when does healing start?
Yeah, I
Right?
think about that too. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I know
it
what you
has
mean.
gone from 2005 to 2015 to like last year. You know what I mean? And it's like, how do I quantify this? We're
Yeah.
such multi-dimensional beings with so many different layers on us.
Yep.
I really point to a couple of dates. 2005, I met a pastor who mentored me, and he loved me. He was just kind to me. He was about 12 years older than me, not old enough to be my dad, but definitely had a father energy. And he taught me about, he was a Christian pastor, and he taught me about Jesus. He taught me about mercy. He taught me about love. And he just kind of started planting some seeds.
Yep.
Yeah. Then I started getting into ministry, and I became a deliverance minister in 2012. That was wild. That was wild. That's like the Navy SEAL of ministry. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that to mean that you're typically not meant to be a Navy SEAL for life, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's a tour, it's very intense. And I watched people, bark like dogs and grow fangs and foam at the mouth and, exorcist type stuff. And learned a lot about the spirit world and the spirit realm, and that we are not alone here.
Oh yeah.
We are just not. There's things that exist in inner dimensions that are weaving in and out of this world that we as humans don't understand. And some of us have some type of spiritual gifting, I think.
Oh, I believe
It's
that.
called a gift.
Mm.
Sometimes it's a curse, but I can see it. I can see it in others. I can see them walking around. And I was not super grounded in that. I am now after years. But that was an up leveling.
Mm.
The major part of my healing that I really point to was because it was kind of fun how it found me versus me finding it. I'm a writer, I'm a published writer, and a company called me that's in Costa Rica and said, "Hey, we found your articles online. We'd like to bring you out to Costa Rica and you experience our healing organization, our retreat center, and you write articles about it and do reviews." I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to."
Hmm.
And they said, "By the way, do you know what ayahuasca is?" And I said, "Yeah, I know what it is. I don't know much about it. I've not done it. I know it's some type of thing you drink, and it, you know, makes you see other worlds or something." I explained it in some way like that. Like, "Well, we're gonna send you some information on it. We'd like you to come out and really experience this whole thing, and then you write about it." And so I did. And I didn't fully know what I was getting into. It was Rhythmia in Costa Rica, and really beautiful organization, first class. I do recommend it. I am very cautious and reverent when I speak about plant medicine because it's not for everybody. Ayahuasca is a very seductive energy, and we call it the white witch. Often shows up like the white snake, like a white snake, and she seduces you in. And so a lot of people ask me about ayahuasca, or not a lot of people. When I'm asked about ayahuasca, I'm always quick to say, take a knee, pray. I don't want anybody to listen to this and be like, "Yeah, I heard about that and I need to go dose up on this," because like everything, it's getting abused, and there's people that are pulling this very ancient medicine from people that are out there in the jungles and wildernesses where it comes from, and have been working with this medicine for generations, like 3-4 generations. And you'll meet all of them. Like there's the little kid, there's you'll meet 4 generations of men that have all working with this medicine. They're shamans. And by the way, they don't call themselves shamans. We do.
Yeah.
They are shamans. But I would say anybody that calls themselves a shaman is, maybe that's your first cue to raise an eyebrow. But that's my judgment. So I go out there and I do meditative breathing, because I always start you with meditative breathing. Then we do 4 ayahuasca journeys, doses, one per night for 4 nights, and then we do meditative breathing on the end. And the experience is to teach you that you don't need medicine to cure yourself. You can do it with your breath. So if anybody, your readers, have ever heard of like meditative breathing, Wim Hof is real popular. He kind of popularized, I don't think he invented it, but he popularized it, the Iceman. And all he's doing is getting his body so oxygenated that he goes into this meditative state, so that when he jumps into these cold Arctic ponds, he can swim in these things for like an hour and not freeze to death. Why can he do that? Power of the mind, right? And so that was the experience that I had on that plant medicine really spun me in a different direction. I met my father, who had just passed away, and who passed away like 3 months earlier. And I was estranged from my father because I was growing up in a religious household, and I hadn't spoken to my father in like 30 years.
Wow.
And so I met him, and he came back and showed me all the ways he loved me.
Oh,
I
wow.
had a death rebirth of my false self, and I was able to say goodbye and thank my
That's
false
awesome.
self for being alive, right? And say thank you. We are here. We, meaning me and my children, me and my inner children. We are here because of you. And he was able to die, right, and join. And then my higher self came in, took the reins. I became a king that day, and I didn't know
Wow.
it. I didn't know it. Yeah. So, because I kept practicing with medicine, I'd never went back. I went back to ayahuasca a couple of times, and now I actually don't do medicine very often, but I stick to more heart opening medicines. Tepesweet is one, various forms of mushrooms, and very micro dosing.
Yeah.
I have no desire to puke or shit myself. So,
That's so powerful
yeah.
with your father. I've had spiritual experiences like that as well. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Well, it's believable, but it's also unbelievable. I'm just sitting here. I'm just loving what you're saying, mate, because it's very similar to what I was. My grandfather and some other ancestors as well have come to me too. It's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? Once you allow that in, it's incredible, man.
It's brilliant. Yeah,
Mm.
it's brilliant. And I didn't need ayahuasca to do it. I like to think that I
I
like to
didn't need it
say, I
either.
tell others, do what?
I didn't need it either. I just did a like a quantum healing session, and then I
Yeah,
just meditated.
it is a it is a tool to get past the ego.
Correct.
And I had a very massive, very in place ego that I was operating from for decades.
Hmm.
A lot of the false self. And the ego's not bad, the ego's there to keep us safe and
Yep.
whatever. But it was able to get me past all of that, so that I could really show up and be like, okay,
Hmm.
this is it. And I I'm grateful. I'm grateful those medicines are there. Um, and like I said, anybody that's considering it, I would say be mindful, pray to it,
Hmm.
because it's not something you fool around with. It's not a toy. You don't get high on it. If you want to go do that, go play with mushrooms or something. But
Hmm.
yeah, that was a big catalyst for me. And I kept going in that work. And journeying back to and then right right before that. So that was 2018. Actually, I did that.
Okay.
But in 2015, the date that I mentioned, 2015, was a huge catalyst for me, because my depression had gotten to like epic levels.
Hmm.
I didn't know if I was bipolar. I didn't know. I was just paralyzed with anxiety. I was heavily caffeinated, and I didn't know at the time just how much that puts us into fight or flight. Um, it was caffeine to get me going, sugar to keep me going, and alcohol to bring me down. and all done at very acceptable levels. I was never drunk. I wasn't overweight. Nobody would ever know there was a problem. But I was using, as a drug addict uses, I was using these substances, these very common everyday things that like 99% of people use in some way. And so it was all just very suffer in silence. And my depression got so bad that I was just in a constant state of anxiety, and I didn't know why. Very triggered, and I checked myself in to a treatment center for 6 weeks. It was a all natural place. It was in Kentucky, and took a flight out there, and they picked me up, and it was a beautiful. And when I say treatment facility, it was a ranch, rolling hills, a beautiful farm, like a massive farmhouse with a kitchen, huge kitchen, almost like a cafeteria in it, wraparound porch with swings. So very beautiful spot. Not for It was not for addictions. So it wasn't for people wanting to like a sober place. It was for people that had already been through that. So people that had various traumas, hurts, habits, hangups. It's like a reset center. And I went for 6 weeks. And one of the best things I ever did. It introduced me to 12 steps. It was a group. It was a healthy meal in the morning, healthy lunches, no caffeine or limited caffeine, certainly no alcohol, no devices. They take all your phone. They control everything that you look at, everything you watch, and it's just a chance for you to sit with nature, be with others, work through conflict, start talking, start telling your story. I did things like empty chair work, where I sit in a room, and all my colleagues are behind me, all my class is behind me, and maybe there's 6, 7 people in the class. Mom, come on in. I want to say a few things to you. And you invite your mom to sit in an empty chair in the corner, and you're able to say to your mom or your father or your criminal attacker or your ex-wife or that boss, anybody that hurt you, all the things that you didn't get a chance to say. So some of these type of exercises I did, and these therapists are brilliant. These are trained therapists that walk you through the expression of what happened and being able to label it and call it. And there's a thing called getting your story straight. So I talked about story. One of the first things we do is to get your story straight. That's what they call it. Get your story straight. Because if you're not living a true story, if your story is off, or it's being trumped up in some ways, or it's being minimized in other ways, you can't really heal because your story's not straight. So one of the first things they did was, this is what has happened to you. And what I noticed is, and they pointed it out, I told them what happened to me, and I was saying it like this, with a smile, and I was gesturing, and I looked nice, right? Looked nice, and I was smiling. And one of the therapists said, Robin, you just told us something really horrible just happened to you. Why are you smiling? And in that moment, I was like, I thought I was supposed to.
Wow.
It never occurred to me that I could tell someone how I felt and have the appropriate corresponding emotion. Never occurred to me.
Wow.
Never occurred to me. And I think about that, and I'm like, man, yeah, I cried with a smile. I've yelled with a smile. Talk about confliction, massive confliction. A lot of confused men right now, right? Some of the best things you could ever do to a man is walk up and just put your hand on his shoulder. Say, hey, man, what's going on? How are you? I see you. What's up? I noticed this thing about you. And I had 6 weeks to do that, free of media, watching TV, circles in my eyes, free of limited caffeine. They do give you coffee, but limited caffeine, no alcohol. Just not a problem. I did miss that.
Mm.
Um, the correct stimulation, right? Or really no stimulation, reading books, reading the Bible, sitting on a rocking chair. They had bird feeders all around this second story porch. And you'd watch the birds come in, the hummingbirds sit there and it was just a magical experience. But here's what it taught me. They taught me in that the reparenting process that's been pioneered by John Bradshaw. He died a couple of years ago, but he is the father of the reparenting. I think he wrote the book, I think called The Child Within. And what he teaches is become your own loving parent. Treat yourself the way a loving parent would treat you. Be kind to yourself, be supportive to yourself. How do you talk to yourself? How do you feed yourself? You wouldn't, a healthy adult would not abuse a 4-year-old. Treat yourself like the 4-year-old first. Then, once you have that embedded in you, reparent that little abused child. And I have 4 of them: 5 years old, 8 years old, 14 years old, and 18 years old. And I met the 8, 14, and 18 during that process, but I still had trauma. And so I jumped into 12 steps and started doing the work of adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families, PhD level healing work. Highly recommend it. It's a 12-step program, totally free. And you can walk in to any of these groups, talk for a minute or two, tell them what you're dealing with. Hey, I'm Robin. This is what's going on. And all anybody's ever going to say to you is, thanks for sharing. Keep coming back. And that's really valuable. When we as kids were told to shut up, kids are supposed to be, seen, not heard, slapped, and whatever someone's scenario is. It's very healing. And so I started doing that work, and they've got guidebooks and supporting literature, and it's a very, very powerful group that it came from 12 steps of AA. And so I started doing that work, started doing the work of Al-Anon, which is the partners of alcoholics, because I drew alcoholic partners, constantly. And so that was the framework. It was the 6 weeks of treatment. It was 12 steps meetings and really doing the steps, learning the steps, going through them, getting a sponsor, healing my own traumas, seeing those traumas, embracing them, feeling my feelings, crying, doing plant medicine then in 2018. I mean, I wish it was just a, yeah, here you go, guys. You just need to buy this pen. You just need to buy this pen. I wish it was that way, but it's not. We are multi-layered people, and sometimes the onion just needs to be peeled.
Yeah. That's so awesome. People want that quick fix, don't they, Robin? They want that doctor or that guru to just give them a quick fix, and it just doesn't work like that, does it?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, and we have so much proof of that. And I want that too. And not to say that there aren't quick fixes to be had. Going to treatment for 6 weeks, I got a ton of healing out of that. So much healing. It didn't make me who I am right now, sitting in front of you, but it was a piece. When I do my coaching, I use words like, I want to get with you. I want to get your intake form. I want to look at where you're doing great, because I want to affirm where you're doing great first and foremost. I want to prop you up, right? And then I want to see where there's traumas and where you're self-sabotaging. And then my first thing I do, and I tell them this: where can we get your quickest wins? The human
Yes.
spirit wants to win, wants to win. Where can we get your quickest wins? And let me tell you where they are. It's the places where you don't have attachment, right? Where can I take somebody and say, do this, this, and this? And if you do it, you'll immediately experience this, this, and this. And they'll be like, awesome, done. Like I was on a session yesterday with a guy, and he was not attached to the ways that he was toxifying. He had toxins coming into his body, and he was not attached to how he was doing it. His brand of toothpaste, for example. I'm just giving an example, right? The way he was drinking his water, he was fluoridated, and he wasn't attached to that. But he also has a pornography challenge. I didn't wrestle with that. That's deeper, right? That's not going to be a win for him immediately, right? That's going to be something that he's still comforting in, and let him comfort in it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it, right? Cigarettes. You can't just tell somebody, well, stop smoking, you idiot. Right? There's a heavy attachment there. What else? Coffee. I'm rarely ever just say, stop drinking cold turkey coffee. I met with a guy today who loves his coffee, drinks about 3-4 cups a day. I'm like, nope, don't stop. Because I know there's gonna be headaches, and it's gonna destabilize him on his wins, and he's gonna get discouraged. And that sucks. And so I said, nope, keep drinking your coffee. I'm going to send you a type of coffee to buy. Would you do that for me? Can you commit to doing that? He goes, yeah. I said, do you drink it black? He goes, yeah. I said, great. So you're not drinking creamer. You don't have any sugar in it. Because if you're drinking all that, I've got solutions for that too, rather than sweeteners and stuff. But he just drank it black. I'm like, awesome. You grind your beans. Yeah. I got a French press. I do the whole thing. I'm like, awesome. Buy this bean. He's going to go from 250 grams of caffeine per cup to 0.008 grams of caffeine per cup. Like that. And I said, I want you to drink one of mine and one of yours. One of mine, one of yours. And do that for about 3-4 days. He goes, okay. So already I've reduced his caffeine. He's reduced his, no, I'm not doing anything. He's reduced his caffeine by half. By in a week, I'll have him almost, sorry, I did it again. He will be, got to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't do it, right? He's doing it. He will be entirely off caffeine in a week.
Wow.
Won't even know it. So it's that tapering, get those quick wins, get his confidence up. The guy from yesterday texted me 2 hours after he was off his session. He was like, I bought the filter, I bought the toothpaste, I bought new deodorant, I bought all these things. He might have spent $75-80, but he's no longer putting toxins in his body with aluminum filled deodorant and fluoridated toothpaste and fluoridated water. And I taught him how to eat. Say, hey, rather than choosing that, I taught him about oils, and seed oils. There's only 4 good types of oils. And so I was able to show him how to just change up some of his diet. And he sent me a text. He said, got this, and this. What kind of music should I listen to? And I said, well, there is no good. He goes, what kind of good music should I listen to? So, well, there is no such thing as good music. There's only good lyrics.
Love it.
And if you listen to the lyrics, if you wouldn't talk to someone you love like those lyrics, you probably shouldn't be listening to it. And here's the thing about singing. Laughter and singing in the world of mind control embeds the message inside of us deeper. Why is it on sitcoms there's always embedded laughter? You ever notice that?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, you watch Seinfeld or some
Friends or whatever. Yeah, it's all there.
Friends. There's always this embedded laughter in the background.
Yes.
Because it causes us to laugh and it embeds the message deeper. Same for singing. Chanting is amazing. Battle cries. Why did they do battle cries? Right? Why do people in CrossFit sometimes yell and sing? Why does the army do a song? sound
Exactly.
off, 1, 2, 3. It
Yeah.
embeds the message. And so he was like, okay, instrumental only for a while. I'm like, well, just, you'll start spotting it. You'll start spotting it. He bit his nails. He bit his nails. Why do I bite my nails? I'm like, well, you're heavily caffeinated, so you're in fear. Look at the movies you're watching, right? He identified with movies like John Wick and Predator and Rambo and like all these very violent movies where 100 Rambo comes in and kills like 100 people, all of his blood and guts. Your subconscious doesn't know that's not real.
Mm.
Your subconscious just thought that it realize is starting to, in some level, is like, I just saw 100 people get killed. I'm not safe. Something's wrong.
Mm.
I got to seek safety. I need food. I need alcohol. I need to comply. I need to jab myself and push lethal poison under my skin. I need to yes man the boss or I'm going to get fired. I need to people please to the girlfriend or she's going to leave. Right? I got to let the wife do whatever she's going to do and run our family in a way that isn't acceptable to me. I'm going to let my kids run all over me. Right? This is why, because of our subconscious. And that's so you take trauma, you take toxins, you take mind control, propaganda, media, government, taxation without representation, which is really just theft. You take all of these things and you start coupling it, and you're like, holy fuck, I was born into a matrix of generational trauma and control.
Yep. Spot
And
on.
so we stop asking, well, why am I watching pornography? Why am I fat? Why am I broke? Why am I talented and I can't make money? Why can't I find a good woman that loves me? We're not asking the right questions.
Yes.
That's the wrong fucking question. I mean, and it just keeps us on the this is a huge aha, right? Like it just keeps us on the rat wheel of try harder, of I gotta hire everybody. Nobody hires me because of trauma. I mean, some may use the word. Everybody hires me for the result.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the result. Like, I want that. I'm not getting it. Something's wrong. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Something is wrong. Something's hugely wrong. You are in planet mind control, as how I once said it. I think Jason calls it that.
He does.
Planet mind control was hilarious. Like planet mental asylum.
Yeah. Mm.
We're born into this matrix of bullshit.
Literally.
And then we are adult children. Until we transition, we are adult children in planet mind control with all this trauma, trying to get things out of our reach.
Yeah.
Like a 5-year-old saying, I want that car. Okay, aren't you cute? Yeah, no, you can't even drive yet. A 5-year-old saying he wants to be married. Oh, yeah, you are cute, little Johnny. One day, it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate. It's the man I met with today, beautiful man, such a beautiful man. It would be such an incredible partner, and he so desperately wants to be with an amazing woman. And I see it. This man would make an amazing partner. But the last thing I'm going to do is talk to him about dating and how to meet women. And I'm going to pepper it in because he's interested in that. But he doesn't have a woman problem. He's not abusive. He's not condescending. He's not a rapist. He's not a abuser. He is nothing that would say, red light, hold on, we need to keep you away from women. It's all inside.
Mm-hmm.
All inside, connected to the relationship he had with his mother. So I think as humans, we have to start dealing with this concept is let's go back. Let's like time out. Let's stop. Stop trying to get the superficial thing and let that be a metric for something more beautiful that's happened underneath. The cars, the relationships, the possessions, the houses, even the deeper spiritual connections. Whatever it is we want, whatever it is we want. It could be, you know, it's a reflection to a bigger thing going on inside.
Mm.
And if you don't feel like, in my story, you don't feel deserving of love, I can't, I shudder to think of all the good women that I probably pushed away because I didn't feel lovable. I'm friends with a couple of them,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Did the exact same thing. That's so powerful, man. I've got no words for all of that, mate, because it's currently summing me up very, very well at the moment, and the last few years too. How'd you find Jason's work and Jason's content? What drew you to that?
A friend sent me his podcast.
Ah,
And I think it was his main one about I think it was called The Psychology of Self-Sabotage. So it was one of his more generalized ones, versus specific.
yep.
And it was called, yeah, that's what it was, The Psychology of Self-Sabotage. And I was like, what? And he gets on, hello, this is Jason Christoph, podcast number 168. He's got this real suave voice. I'm like,
Yeah.
who is this guy?
Yeah.
And he starts laughing at himself, right? And I started laughing.
Yeah.
Like, and it just planted a seed of, wait a minute. Yeah. And so I went in and I started devouring everything that I listened to every one of his podcasts. Everything I could find. I listened to.
Same.
Typically while on a hiking trail in Colorado. So surrounded by nature.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it shifted me into some really cool directions. And I'm grateful for that message. I'm grateful for what he's done. I'm grateful for his knowing and his experience in that, because it's valuable. And it's real world, and it's easy. It's easy. I don't want to use the word easy. It's not complicated to look at that and go, yeah, I'm self-sabotaging in these areas. Okay. Deep breath. Why? Because trauma work that takes a lot of skill. You could hurt somebody in trauma work, right? Medicine journeys, trauma work, what's going on with the mind. The mind is immensely complex. But really anybody can start arresting self-sabotage and being like, yeah, I'm not thriving in these areas. Why? Oh, okay. This is how coffee works. Oh, this is what alcohol does to my body. Okay. Oh, this is when I talk negatively to myself. This is actually what's happening. Oh, when I watch John Wick and Rambo and shoot 'em up movies where 100 people die in 2 hours, this is how my nervous system is reacting to that. That makes sense. And then all you got to do is slowly stop doing those things, and you quickly get wins.
Yep.
I know people that have gone to therapy for years. Years. They come to me. I had a guy yesterday say, yeah, I'm reading books and I'm going to therapy. Like, oh, how long have you been going to therapy? 3 years. 3 years. How long do you go? I go for an hour once a week for 3 years. Why are you messaging me? Just want some wins. Therapist didn't teach him how to win.
No.
Therapist didn't teach him how to win. School doesn't teach you how to win. College doesn't teach you how to win. A job doesn't teach you how to win. Do you see there's a pattern. Therapy doesn't teach you how to win. Doctor doesn't teach you how to win. Lawyer doesn't teach you how to win. Even if you win in court, you don't win. All jacked up. Nobody teaches you how to win. I'll teach you how to win.
Mm.
If I don't know how to win, I'll find somebody who does. I'll teach you how to win.
I love that.
I won't stop until you do. It's an obsession.
Yeah.
Absolute obsession. I can't stop.
That's awesome. You're such an awesome man, mate. Like, I'm sitting here just in awe of what you're saying. Like, it's so deep and meaningful, and you're so right about the current system. It doesn't teach you how to win, and that's the root of it, isn't it?
It is the root, and I think it's about time. Even when I say that, I feel this dropping down in me, like this kind of like oh my God, I just said that, and there's this dropping down depth to that statement, and I'm like, why am I so obsessed about it? Because time is the only thing that is finite. I'm it it's so easy to say, oh, had I only known this earlier. God, man, had I been able to see and love that little guy 10 years ago, that little 5-year-old. The 5-year-old for me was the biggest part. Was
Yeah.
seeing him. He was the last one that was bloodied and bruised and pushed in the corner. And I didn't see him. I felt him, but I didn't see him. Maybe I was scared of him.
Mm.
Maybe chemically speaking, in my brain, I wasn't ready to see
Yeah.
him. Probably most likely.
Mm.
You know, it is proven that when we can go through traumas and our brains just lock those traumas away, because if it doesn't, we will die. We will die. And I often think, if it wasn't for the way my healing has, I'm going to say, rolled out like a red carpet, like a gentle roll of carpet, just gently rolled out, I probably would have suicided myself. And I know what it's like to be on the phone with somebody who's got the phone in their ear and a 9mm in their other hand. I've been that guy. I've been that guy reaching out to a friend and just say, listen, I don't want to scare you, but I need help. I'm really scared. I'm not in the right mind. I'm sitting here staring at my pistol. I just don't know if I can make it tomorrow. I don't, and please don't freak out on me. And you know what I mean? Like, please don't freak out on me. I need you to not fucking freak out on me right now. I just need you to just be with me in this moment and just hold my hand through this. Because I'm just looking at my life, and I'm looking at this gun, and I'm like, this could be over. And then, can you just talk with me? And I've called the right people in those moments. And I've been that guy that's been on the out of the line with someone else to sit with someone and just breathe, and can you get to the next hour? You chunk it down. Can we get through tonight? Can you get through tomorrow morning? Do you need me to come be with you? What do you need? How are you feeling? And just slow down and be in that space. And I think the biggest thing I could tell people is just allow a space of unraveling. Let it unravel. When we self-sabotage, we're just wound so fucking tight. Like, it's a tight ball. And if you can just, in that area, if you can just let go just a little bit, right? Ask for help, go to 12 steps, just allow God in. I call it God. God. A lot of people are triggered by that word. Higher power, consciousness, Jesus, nature, I don't care. Allow this some type of force of intelligence and love that exists and is undeniable, and allow that into that space. Allow only that, maybe for safety reasons, right? Because you don't trust anybody, and who would you call? That's what the ego says. Just allow love into that place of woundedness, and it'll continue to unravel. It'll continue to unravel. And there's things you can do to speed it up, safely. There's things you can do to slow it down. But yeah,
Wow.
there's a space for falling apart.
Mm.
There's safety, there's safe places you can go to just kind of fall apart. Nature is phenomenal at it. It can handle you. It can handle you. You know, go jump in take your clothes off and go jump in a lake or a river. You know, it'll change you in every way. Chemically, changes your body, changes your whole chemistry.
Mm.
People, trained professionals, people like myself who are versed in the work, who are versed in trauma, and there's groups. Yeah, there's you weren't designed. You weren't. You know, you look at that little child, and that little child wasn't born to recover. There was nothing to recover from. They weren't born to recover from racism and bigotry and pain and lack. They don't know anything. They don't know those words. They ask, why do you think a child says, can I have a piece of candy? Can I have a piece of candy? They just, rah, rah, rah. They just ask 100 times because they don't understand no. And why would I not be able to have what I want? I ask for something, I get it. That's the way the universe works. Along the way did we learn that that's not the way? That may be a little oversimplified, but honestly, does the world not work like that with some other laws that are put in there? The law of reciprocation, the law of exchange, the law of money, the law of gravity, right? The law of attraction. There's a lot of laws that go in all that, but at the core, we learn all these things that we then have to unlearn. And I just hold out this crazy pipe dream hope that maybe at some point humanity will evolve to the place where we can stop this cosmic divide, where we take a perfectly good child and indoctrinate him with, or her, with all these things that they then have to spend a lifetime unlearning and creating these cycles of generational trauma and addiction and chaos. One of the reasons, I'm the youngest of 5, and I purposely did not have children because of the way I was raised. Like vasectomy at like 21 years old. I had to see doctors to get a vasectomy because they wouldn't perform a vasectomy on me.
Wow.
You're too young, you'll change your mind. I know I won't. No, I won't. I do not want a child. I will not be responsible for a child that feels the way I felt. I couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle it. I don't think that was a bad decision for me. That wasn't my path, but that's how deep my trauma was rooted.
Fuck.
Yeah. So I cut it off. No little robins running around out there.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
So, you know, that's fine with me. I don't regret not having children. But now, oh my God, now I feel an energy in me and a place in me and in the world where I could be a father for hundreds. I'm 51. I'm starting to see younger men around me, and I don't see them any different than I see myself. But every once in a while, I'm talking to them. I'm like, holy shit, I could be this kid's dad. He's not a kid. He's a fully adult. So there's no rank in that. It's just, it's something beautiful. But sometimes like I'm hanging out with this guy, this younger man who's 25, even 30. I'm like, man, a full adult. I'm like, man, I could be this man's father. And I think that's really beautiful. And my biggest goal right now, on this planet, on this earth, is my background's in real estate, 25 years of building homes and real estate deal making and running brokerages and coaching. That's actually where I got my coaching. It's everybody wants something. Well, salespeople want more sales. So I learned how to get people what they wanted. It's performance coaching. It's all I did was performance coach for 2 decades. And in that time, I did about 2,500 transactions, 25 different real estate type properties. And I saw a lot of real estate that was houses. I didn't see a lot of homes and a lot of 90-degree angles. There are no 90-degree angles in nature. You think about that. Everything is curved and flowing. Saw a lot of 90-degree angles. I saw a lot of rooms that weren't being used, that quintessential, I like that word. I've used that twice today. That typical formal living room that has like the fancy couch in it and the end table and like the Christmas tree. And nobody goes in there. And the carpet's vacuumed, certain way. You know what I mean? Like these rooms that people don't use is my point. And my dream is to go back to communities, like real communities. So like tribes. So a piece of land, somebody has land. The land needs the people need the land. It's always been that way. Find somebody probably older. He's elderly, he or she's elderly, nearing end of life, has this piece of land, probably has a house on it. It's probably underdeveloped. Maybe there's an anxiety around, oh, how do I keep this thing up? I'm paying taxes on it now. I'm not working. The land needs the people need the land. I want to come in, develop it, put housing units on it, small houses. I love tiny houses, so that somebody has strictly what they need, their own space to clean themselves, to use the bathroom, to rest, to sleep, their own privacy. And then put a community center on it where we do family dinners and big meals are prepared, which is also dubbed as a schoolhouse. So the children are schooled right there, unschooled right there. A small little farm, raised box gardens, a horse, a cow. We know the name of the animal that feeds us. We feed the animal that one day feeds us. That's the cowboy's way.
Yeah.
The cowboy. Why is a cowboy a cowboy? A cowboy's a cowboy because he feeds and cares for the animal that will one day care and feed him and his family. And so there's that infinity loop. It never ends. The infinity loop in all things that's just sustainable. It just feeds. It doesn't get lopsided. It just stays in perfect rhythm. I want to get back to those tribes, 10, 15, maybe 20 people, maybe 30 is a max. And then we form another tribe. And the land is put into a trust, and its deed is changed so that it can never be sold off and made condos out of. It will always be for the people. And you are welcome on the land if you join the infinity loop. So it gives to you, you give to it.
Wow.
Right? So you've got skills, you've got time, you've got youth, you've got wisdom, you've got money, you've got provisions, you've got something. And the person that gave the land lives and dies there. So the elderly, let's say it's a man, as he's nearing end of life, he doesn't run off to some scary, sad, expensive nursing home. No, he stays right there. We have in care that comes there, that feeds him, bathes him, takes care of him. We have a death doula, just like a birth doula. There's a death doula that he knows and will be with him in his last moments. Maybe there's a bell when he starts to go. Everybody comes to his side and says goodbye and holds his hand and says, hey, we'll see you in the next life. And he gets to be with the kids and he dies there.
And his spirit lives on.
The spirit lives on. He's buried there. He knows where he's going to be buried, under the tree, and he rejoins the pattern.
Yep.
And maybe good men come and go because they have jobs, certain positions or careers outside of this place. Other men stay. Same for women. I'm a pilot. I'm a professional pilot. So maybe I leave and go fly for a week and come back. So there's chickens, there's eggs, there's there's goats, and this is not a, and this is a, uh, I'm going to use the word luxury, cosmopolitan. This is nice. This is done well. There's running water, there's solar, it's sustainable, so that should there be outages, we can just, no problem. There's regenerative water. It has the ability to be a completely off-grid, low signature, low carbon footprint living situation that's healthy. And then what I want to do is I want to take that model and take it to other communities, take it to other cities, and take it to mayors. I want to have a guest house and bring mayors and city officials in and say, hey, mayor to this city, come stay with us. Give them a fresh farm to table dinner, right? See the kids, see the way there's a tribe of elders, there's fire pits, there's places to do clearings for grievances and disagreements. There's primitive skills that we learn. There's new skills we learn. This isn't hobo, off-grid prepper shit, but it's that too. There's space for that. It knows how to defend itself against fires and natural disasters or invaders.
I love that, man.
Bring the mayor in and show the mayor what we've done and how we've enriched the land. People are enriched. It's better for the city. And then I'd like to be a consultant going all over the world, showing people how to make regenerative, purposeful communities versus this suburbia that we've bought into, which is ridiculous. Like you don't know your neighbor. You lived in this house for 10 years and you don't know your neighbor.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big dream of mine.
That's an awesome dream.
Is to create that.
I can see you doing it though.
Yeah, me too.
That's awesome, man. That was an awesome chat. Like I could have you on for another 3 hours shooting the breeze. That was just awesome, man. Like thank you for coming on. And if there's anything you want to leave the viewers and listeners with, mate, a final message, final affirmation, or a piece of advice that they can start their journey with.
I would say, and I hope it doesn't sound like a cliche. Ooh, that was a rhyme. I would say, it's not a cliche. Feed your dream. Feed your dream, even in the dark hours. The dark hours where it just feels like you're just disenfranchised and unseen. Don't let go of your dream. Know that there are little wins possible. And call me I can find a win in anybody. I can find a win quickly. It's a superpower. It's a superpower. I can find a win. And I don't mean some false candy prop you up kind of silliness. Well, you're breathing, aren't you? I'm not talking about condescending you. I'm talking about find you a win and what your superpower is. And there are people like me everywhere that exist. And I would say find that. Know that exists for you. And you can find a win and capitalize on it. Capitalist is good. Capitalize on it. That is for you. We are unique as a fingerprint. And I would say those wins exist. And awakening is a beautiful unfolding. It's a lie that it's pain. It's not pain. It feels like it's pain. Yes, it's there, but it's weird. It's like jumping in the ocean. It can be scary, but it's invigorating. You're not going to die. May get slapped around a little bit. You may step on a shell, or a jellyfish may get you a little bit, but you're not going to die. You'll be all right. Find that win. And there's so many modalities. There's so many ways. There's so many healers and awakeners and coaches and people that are talking about this. I mean, if you got access to YouTube, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. And it's not money that drives us. That's a lie. That's a lie. Money's just a metric. If you see one of these guys saying their messages and they're saying it on the hood of a Ferrari, that's just because the people they're talking to need to know that they're successful. Otherwise they wouldn't listen to them. That's just a different way of showing up.
Yeah.
I personally show up that way. I don't think I will ever show up that way, but you may see me in the back of a Gulfstream one day talking, because that's just fucking cool. Right. So, but you may see me on a trail too. It doesn't matter. Man, awakeners are everywhere, and we can never have enough of you. Like, you are welcome in the awakening space. We want so many people to still awaken, because it's so much better for everybody.
I
It's
agree.
so much better. The best thing we could ever do for the planet is to heal your inner person.
Because it's also healing the planet too.
It heals everybody.
Yeah, and it heals everyone. Yep.
It heals everyone.
Yeah. I love that, man. That's a good way to finish. We'll leave that one there, I reckon. Thank you for coming on, mate. Thank you for reaching out and connecting with me. And yeah, I really encourage everyone that's listen to this, contact Robin. We'll put his details in the bottom where you can find him.
You can find me at, just my full name is Robin Austin Reed. I'm on all the social channels at Robin Austin Reed, and you just Google that, you'll find me, and just email me, call me, whatever. Happy to encourage you.
Yeah. What's your email?
Robin@robinaustinreed.com.
We'll put that in the bottom, and I encourage anyone and everyone to reach out if you're stuck. That was a special chat, man. Thank you so much for that. That was incredible.
Thank you. And I'll give you a link that you can give to your readers for a free book called
Sweet.
Epic. And it's Create the Life You Want or Tolerate the Life You Have. It's an easy read. It's kind of fun.
Awesome.
So we'll put that in the show notes, and everybody can have that. My gift to you.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you so much. That's been the end of this awesome chat. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you, brother.